old. What do y'all want to do today? Really don't feel like working on the rear end. I gotta do something else. I'm getting bored. We've been working on that rear end for like 3 weeks, I feel. I don't even know how long it's been. 3 weekends, I'll say. In reality, it's only like 3 days because for whatever reason, I can't find the time to get out here and actually get something done during the week. I've been doing outside stuff or being sick or being hot. Whatever random excuse I come up with. But let's do something else. I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe start plating the frame, because that's going to take a long time. There are some ideas. I kind of want to plate. I think I mentioned it last weekend. I can't really plate in this portion of the frame. I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see that. I don't want to take away any clearance for the spring. So if I was to add plate on top of the frame where that is, it's going to take up some room. I'm kind of thinking we're going to plate the inside of the frame behind this pocket and then basically brace all the way around it and then cap it on the back on top of that. I think it'll be strong. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot that's getting tied into itself. I think eventually, I was thinking, I think I talked about it before, maybe making something from this cross member to that cross member. I don't know. I think we're just going to go with it, see what happens. It's Sunday again. Again, I haven't really gotten anything done because I've been doing yard work because the weather finally broke and I finally feel up to doing things outside and not sweating to death or hacking up a lung. So, we're here. I don't know if you've ever been here before. This is the channel, obviously. My name's Crawford. We're trying to make a Ranger into a Lowrider. It's taken way more time than anticipated. It should have been done, I don't know, somewhere around like March. But, you know, ADD things happen and project ideas happen and parts problems happen, and then you push this project out and you push another project in and you body drop a car in 3 months. That's what happened. We body dropped a Caprice. I don't know if you've ever seen those videos, but there's a lot of them. We need to eventually get back on that because there's still barely an interior in it and a dashboard that's basically just there to hold a light switch for the headlights. You know, ADD problems. I haven't mentioned that in a long time. It gets pretty rampant. The attention of what I'm doing gets pulled away. Just this morning, a little story time. Just this morning, I came out here with full intentions on getting straight to work. I started sweeping and picking up, and then I decided I was going to go outside and burn some boxes. That turned into walking around the yard and picking up stuff, and that turned into bringing stuff into the shed, and then come back in here and sweeping a little bit more, and picking up some more, and then I got distracted, and I ended up outside again. It's just the way it goes, I guess. But if you've never been here before, subscribe. There's a ton of videos on us doing other things. And there's a lot more to come because I got a lot of projects to bounce back and forth on. Like the Mazda. A lot of people want to see the Mazda. I understand. I'm getting back to it. Just attention. And it's really, really hard to take apart something that drives so well. Like, it's just nice to come home and hop in the Mazda and take it for a cruise for 15, 20 minutes and then go back home. I drove it to work. Not really recommended. You're significantly smaller than everybody else when you're in a body drop vehicle. Even it's hard to see it from other cars' perspectives, not even big trucks, especially when you live in a traffic heavy area like I do. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I'm just rambling. Let's make some templates or something. I don't know. Let's just get to it. Whose idea was it to make this so heavy? couple, I don't know, years ago it feels like, I went through and smoothed some of these factory bends out of the frame, hammered and dollied them, a lot of it towards the rear. Now that I have something here that's actually holding all this in place, I'm going to try to hammer and dolly this somewhat relative to this one, to where it looks similar. That way I'm not trying to make a really weird, oddly shaped piece of sheet metal fit in here. I'm going to do that first before we make the template. Driver side, passenger side. Significantly better. I was going to say I'll add in some clips, but I don't even know if I can find the clips from before. But if you go back like 10 episodes, this thing was all over the place. There's still some things I'm not quite sure about how I'm going to go about them, like the factory rivet holes. That's nice. The factory rivet holes have these crazy bump outs, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about covering those up, but we'll figure it out later. For now, we're going to do the lazy method of making some templates. I don't know if it's necessarily lazy. It's an effective way to making a template pretty quick. So, obviously we got this cross member that's the main thing in our way. After the cross member, it's pretty straightforward. I don't know how long that was, but maybe a minute and a half. And you get a perfect template instead of marking it, cutting it, marking it, cutting it, marking it, cutting it. You have a template that fits exactly. This template technically could be saved. I might transfer this over. That way I can retain the one that actually fits on the outside of the frame. But what we're trying to achieve right now is one that fits on the inside of the frame. So I'm going to transfer this, probably save this one, and make a slightly smaller one. Isn't it nice that we get to do arts and crafts together every time y'all stop by and watch me work on my junk? Here lately it's been pretty sure we've done arts and crafts almost every episode of the Ranger. So with this, I'm just going to cut it 1/4 inch or so shy. I'll cut it on a line and then trim up to the inside of the frame. It would be really sweet if this matched the other side, but I highly doubt that it's going to match because these frame rails are all over the place. Also, my inside pieces that I have to do this are not nearly this long. I'm just not sure where I want them to fall just yet. I just know that I want it to be as strong as possible right around the spring perch. I think like 3/8 material that I have to work with, they're already cut into maybe 1 foot long sections, so not sure how much or where this is going to fall, so be a trial and error situation. So I got 3 pieces of this to work with. I'm pretty sure it's like 3/8. It will overhang the spring perch by, let's say, 3 inches or so on each side. So what I'm going to do is take this. This would be our template that goes inside the frame rail. Lay this up here, and whatever I got to work with, that's what we're going with. So we'll be able to basically plate more than the entirety of the spring perch on the back of the frame. And I'm talking like on the inside. So this is what we're going to go with. So we're going to trace this out, and cut this out, and hopefully you can burn it in. This will give me a peace of mind rather than the entire chassis being wrapped except for right where all the stress is. This is an excessive amount of bracing for the rear, but we also have about 1,000 pounds that's going to be behind all of this, and I'd rather it not bend. There's no saying, no telling if it's going to happen, but again, it's all preventative measures. There's no 100% right way of doing this. If you read forums or Facebook groups, there's debates for days on what material you should use, and my boy said this and my boy said that, and I've been doing this for 30 years. You're just trying to make it as strong as possible. Do it sensible, because again, you can try and copy things that have worked for people in the past. But there's a lot of dudes that do some really weird stuff. A lot of questionable things, and things that break, and things that look like they would work really well that still break. You're just trying to prevent that. I don't even know. Again, I don't know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling along today. Luckily, this thing actually covers the span of this pretty well. Like I mentioned last weekend when we were bracing the rear end, these plates came out of the same I'm gonna throw this away pile from my buddy's house, my buddy's shop, that the plate that we braced the rear end with came from. Even little chunks are worth saving for things just like this. It'd be really cool if I had a whole lot of it. If I had a whole lot of it, I could do the whole frame. I don't have a whole lot of it. We're trying to do this as cheap as possible. So far, thanks to White Trash Fab that made me my tabs, so far all I've had to buy is bar ends and 2x2. Everything else I think I had laying around. It was free. I don't know. This is a budget build, a Lowrider. That's what we're going to call it. The internet. I've talked about this before. I should have did it last week since we ran through so much material. I think this blade is on its last leg. I might have to change it out today. Bar soap, wax candle, anything with an oily, waxy residue is awesome for blades of any sort like this. This kind of hard to explain, and it's kind of hard to see on camera. Just doing this. One, it makes your garage not smell like oil and grease and smells like your favorite random dollar store bar of soap, but it helps that blade glide through anything. If you're cutting aluminum, this is the way to go. If you're using carbide bits on aluminum, say you're burring out a head to do a porting job, soap or wax, candle, whatever, something cheap. These are like 2 for $1 at the Dollar Tree. Again, it's hard to see it on camera, but you can actually feel after you put this on that that blade glides through any material quicker. Yeah, that blade is trash. I think I just overworked it the last couple weeks. It went through a lot of material, I will give it that. If you keep an eye, if you have one of these, you keep an eye on Home Depot. A lot of the time, they'll put them on ridiculous sales. I'm not sure why, but I managed to get them for like $4 a piece or something, which is pretty wild. I almost tried to put 2 on there at the same time. $4. To take in consideration how many cutoff blades you would go through trying to do this with a grinder. This all would basically pay for itself probably within a project. If you're just restricted to a grinder rather than a torch, which I've been there. It's time consuming. You can get it done though. I have a lot of guys that hit me up and say things like they need a garage to do things. This is the only garage I've ever had to call mine, and it took me until I was in my late 20s to get it, so it's possible, man. Just borrow somebody's driveway, maybe where you work. They'll be cool enough to let you work out of the shop occasionally. You don't need to have a garage. Promise. Let's see the difference in this. With a fresh blade. That other stuff, we were creeping along. Moment of truth. Not bad. Not bad at all. Got a little bit of a gap at the top, but it doesn't matter. These frames are shaped so weird. We'll have to weld all this and then clamp this flat because the frame has this weird bump in it. I guess for wheel clearance or something. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to make one for the other side before we fill the garage with rust, dust, and smoke. It's pretty close. Pretty close. Hopefully that's enough. Yep, just a little trimming on the cross member. And it fits in there pretty good. When we started this, I had put some uprights to keep track of the frame twisting and doing weird things. Since I took the weight of the rear end off of the chassis, everything kind of just sprung up because this moves very easily. Like, I could stand on one corner or pull up on one bumper and twist the chassis just with my arms. It's not, they're very, very flimsy. So, all of that weight's gone, rear end sprung up. I had to come up with something to put the rear end back down to where everything is level again. So I have everything that I have sledgehammer related stacked on the bumper to put the things back on the ground. All of those words just to say that. So now we have this plate. Fits pretty good. That plate fits pretty good. I think I'm gonna start cutting. Well, I stopped and ate lunch and edited everything I had. I don't know exactly where I was going with what I was saying, but my microphone turned off at some point while I was saying it. Basically, I need to cut something in this shape that doesn't interfere with the clearances of the spring and looks good and strong. I need to cut something that fits the entire span of this, but this is indentated, it is inset, it is recessed. You can really tell. It's curved. Whatever word that I just rambled out, that's one of those. So the material I'm using is 3/16. Again, online debates. 3/16, quarter inch. Could I do thicker? Can I get away with thinner stuff? Me personally, I think you need at least 3/16. If you got quarter inch money, do some quarter inch stuff for whatever reason. People always say is part of the game. I don't know what game everybody's playing, but whatever competition that everybody's in with each other, I'm not in that competition. We're going with 3/16, crossing our fingers, and hopefully it's going to be strong enough. I don't think that I can curve 3/16 inside of this pocket and make it look nice. I think it's going to look goofy, and I'll probably have to add heat, and it's just going to be too much. So what I'm going to do is make this follow that line And then I'm going to make another piece out of 3/16 that goes on the inside of that. And then it's going to get plated on top and the bottom and the inside, plus the plates that we made earlier. I think it's going to be fine. And, well, we're going to find out if it's going to be fine, I guess. So yeah, we're going to make the templates for that, which I already did, and I talked about it. But you're going to see that now, and then we're going to go cut some steel, which I started already. But I had to go back and re-talk about this because I didn't pay attention. When this thing turns off, it doesn't tell me it turns off. I'll just be rambling to myself for the most part because y'all can't hear me. So yeah, let's just get back to work. Another thing before I start cutting, that's all brake fluid. This thing's been in here for months, untouched and not leaking. Just barely touched this rusty line and it spewed more brake fluid. I don't even know where it's getting it from. There's not even a master cylinder on the truck to get brake fluid from. It's producing its own brake fluid. It's manufacturing it at this point. So, normal Sunday activities. I got pretty far, but I ran out of time. Between getting all these things cut out, which I need to go back and do some final trimming with the grinder and some edges I was having a hard time getting to with the bandsaw. A couple ends here, of course. Clean this up a little bit, round these a little bit. Everything has been painted on one side with weld-through primer. I'm probably going to just do both sides. That way, I try to prevent any kind of rusting in between these two panels, because outside of that, you will never be able to get to that. I'm going to go through, once these panels are welded on, and probably plug weld these on the back side, just for some added support, since there's a ton of those holes in this metal. But overall, we did a lot of cutting today. So, let's see, which one of these is dry enough that we can actually handle it. So, of course, this one needs to be cleaned up. All the edges need to be cleaned up, and then this needs to be trimmed to fit around that, but I'm happy with that. I made 2 of those. Of course, we have the big, thick ones that we started out with today. And then this guy will go here. Something like that. Just needs to be weld-through primered on both sides. All of the edges need to be unwavified, because whatever wave I leave in this, you're just going to see it in the weld. It's going to look kind of weird. Another great debate online is, when you're welding these panels on, do you want the panel to come all the way to the top, or do you want it to come short? Do you want it to meet edge to edge with the panel on top? I am of the belief that it needs to stop a little bit before this edge to give you something to weld to that will actually bite into the material. This material, the same way, it'll bite into the actual existing frame rail, and then I'll probably go back and put a cap weld on top of all of those. And if we get carried away, which a lot of the time I do, maybe I'll go through and finish everything out and smooth it. I'm not sure if I want to go that far of molding things, but I get a little carried away with the grinder sometimes, like this. That still needs to be 100% finished, but didn't intend on making that smooth when I started. But I think it's a pretty good progress for today. We're still leaking magical brake fluid over there. In the garage, I need to turn the fans back on because it is overwhelmingly strong in here from all of the fumes. So I think we're going to call it a day. I appreciate y'all watching. We're only like 20 subs away from the next giveaway, and we just did a giveaway last week, which is pretty big. So I appreciate y'all. If you want to enter for the giveaway, since we're only 20-something subs away, it's a very good possibility that we'll pick up some subscribers this week and we'll hit that goal again. You have the chance of winning an air filter of your choice. I'll post everything on the screen, a t-shirt, and some stickers. Everything from every giveaway has been sent out to everybody's houses as of early this week. I checked the shipping yesterday or the day before. I think everybody received their stuff except for one guy, because he lives in the middle of nowhere, apparently. So they had to deliver it to him on horseback or something. Outside of that, everybody has their stuff. So if you entered and you didn't hit me up, you might want to go check the last couple of videos. There's a good chance that you won something and you just haven't claimed it yet. I had somebody from 4 weeks ago giveaway hit me up on Thursday. And I said, hey man, you won, so you need to tell me what you got. There's a chance that that happened if you'd missed a previous episode and you had played along. But to play along, I'm getting totally distracted. Too many fumes today. Subscribe. That's the most important part, because unless we hit that next 100 goal, then we're not going to do a giveaway. Comment down below, #Virginia's for Lowriders. and that's it. You can win some stuff. I've given away, I just sent out 7 packages, and I've given away, I don't know, 30, something like that. It's been a lot. So, yeah, rambling. I'll see y'all next Sunday. We're going to do a lot of welding. I'm really going to try to come out here this week. I don't have any excuse because I don't have to get set up to do it. All I got to do is turn the welder on and let it go. Getting set up and cutting templates and all that stuff after work hasn't been in me lately, but no excuses. We're going to do some grinding, we're going to do some welding, and we're going to make more templates, and we're going to do some more welding next week. We're going to do gussets and bracing for the front cross member next week. I'd like to make a panel for here sometime very soon to beef all that up. This needs to be cut off. It's going to be cut off at like a 45. There's a lot of little details to do, and we're getting really close to putting the suspension together and putting the bed back on and starting to build the frame for the hydraulics and the batteries and all that stuff. So stick around, subscribe. Maybe you'll win something. Maybe I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching.